Welcome class. Let's go ahead and bow in. Trip. Bow. Kunya. Alright, and let's start with some warm-ups, and let's do jumping jacks. It's one of my favorite warm-ups, just to get the blood flowing. Don't hold your breath while you're warming up especially. Try to breathe as naturally as possible. Nice and easy. Right now we're going to change it to front switches, so I'm not doing a full switch where my hips actually turn. I'm just switching which leg's in front, keeping my hips squared, and I'm going to cross with the opposite hand as the foot that's in front. And again, this is nice and relaxed. Now what I want you to do is I want you to touch your cheekbone with your knocking knuckles each time. So I'm bringing it back to my face. I'm punching at face height, and I'm bringing it back to my face. Now, you probably can't see this, but my hands are actually open right now, right? I'm not making a fist, and not a tight fist at least. There's space in between. And I do that because I want to stay nice and relaxed. I don't want tension right now. And you really don't want tension ever, except for at the point of impact. Other than that, we want to be nice and relaxed the whole time. Are you touching your cheekbones? Make sure you touch your cheekbones. And take a breath in, and out. Breathe in, and out. And let's put our hands on our hips and circle our head. And other direction, nice and slow. Don't go fast, especially on this one. All right, now let's go ahead and forward arm circle. And backward arm circles. And now full range of motion here. So you probably feel a little creaks and pops in your shoulder. It's all right, as long as it's not hurting. If it's hurting, then make it smaller. But if it's not hurting, then you should be going for that full range of motion. All the way forward, all the way backwards. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and, excuse me, spread our legs out a little bit, and we're just going to trunk twist. Nice and relaxed still. Let your momentum of the arm swinging carry you. All right, now we're going to focus on the hips. We're going to twist our hips. And as we do, we're going to drop down a little bit, kind of like going into a socket stretch. Just getting nice and warmed up. So I'm bending one knee, whichever one I'm turning my belt towards, and I'm bending my other knee. So we should also be warming up our knees a little bit here. All right, now what we're going to do, we're going to go all the way into a deeper socket stretch. We're going to bounce it just a few times. And we're going to go to the other side. Same thing, and bounce it a few times. Just going to that full range of motion and coming back. And then we'll go a little bit further and coming back. Now a little bit further than that and coming back. Now I always use the term bouncing, and some people hate that term, but it's just moving dynamically into it, going all the way as far as I can at that moment, and coming back. Each time I should try to go a little bit further. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop our knee down to the ground. We're going to push our hips towards our heel. So I'm trying to touch the knot in my belt all the way to my heel. Maybe I could touch that all the way. And I'm going to come back. All the way down and back. All the way down and back. And let's go ahead and do the other side. All the way down and back. Down a little bit further and back. Even further than that and back. And one more and back. All right, from here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to squat down on one of my feet. Now, if your heel raises up, that's fine. If your heel stays on the ground, also fine. Don't worry about it either way. Make sure that front knee is locked out and reach. Try to reach with your chest to touching your knee. I don't overly care about your hands touching it. I want you to try to touch it more with your chest. And if you can, your lower chest instead of your upper chest. That should get you a little bit better of a stretch here. All right, and let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Try to get down and come back up. Go down a little bit further and back up. And down a little bit further and back up. And one more and back up. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the sumo splits or squatting splits. So dropping down, I'm using my forearms to make sure that my knees don't collapse in. I want to keep them open whenever I'm doing this. I just want to relax my hips and just allow gravity to start to pull me down. I'm not trying to force myself down. I'm just keeping my knees open and relaxing and letting gravity do the work here. Take a deep breath for 5. All right, let's come up. And now let's just kick our legs out a little bit, get the blood flowing back to them. I'm going to start actually doing some kicks here in just a second. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're just going to cover 3 front leg kicks. So you might have done them, you might not have done them. The first one's just going to be our front leg front kick. Now when we're doing our front leg front kick, well, it looks like this. Now, one thing that I see a lot of people doing that it's okay to do if you're doing it on purpose, but it's not okay to do on accident, right? And that's stepping this back foot up and then kicking, right? I want you currently to just lean back and kick as opposed to step forward and kick. Now, the idea of why people step forward and kick is usually because they put one foot under their center of gravity. That way it's easy for them to balance, right? If I'm going here, I'm going to end up falling forward because my foot is outside of my center of gravity, and that's fine. I want to slightly come back, or sometimes I even keep my body weight forward so that I fall forward after the kick. Also fine, but I want you to just be aware of these things. All right, so currently I'm just going to lean back over it as I raise up and kick, bringing the knee up first, kicking, making sure I get full extension at the knee, and I also want you to practice pulling your toes back so you're kicking with the ball of the foot. All right, ready? On my count. Front leg, front kick. Make sure you breathe out on every kick. 3. Set. Upper body is nice and relaxed. Net. Hands are up. Yes, but not tight. Yes, sir. Good. Gero. Ahum. Good. And let's go ahead and switch sides. Now I'm in a sparring stance. I'm not really in a fighting stance. Be in this more of a bladed stance when I'm doing this one. Ready? Same thing, other leg. Hana. 3. Set. Net. Yes, sir. Now it's okay for you to move your hands. Just don't let your hands come down below your belt. Yes, sir. Good. Get over. Aho. All right, take a breath in and out. All right, the next one we're going to do is going to be a front leg roundhouse kick. So it's going to be almost the exact same thing, except for now we have to add that pivot, right? So I'm going to kick this way first. Notice this back foot is already about 90 degrees of an angle from my front foot. It's a little bit short, but mostly, right? So when I raise this knee up, I'm usually going to raise it up in a straight motion, and then I'm going to pivot on my back leg as I kick out, and then I come back, right? Here, here. So it comes up, and then it rounds as I pivot on that back leg. So I want you to make sure that you really are getting that pivot. It needs to go over 90 degrees. So one more time from here, watch this leg. Raise up, kick, and then I counter rotate, all right? Now, this is another one. A lot of people, they like to do this step. And now some people will even do this step so that they can already have this foot pivoted and kick. And now see, things like that are fine, especially for like a hop step type of a kick. But on this one, still same things apply. I want you to lean back first, not moving this foot, and then pivot it as you go for that kick. All right, ready? We're gonna do 10 on each side. Same thing with the hands, nice and relaxed, but still up. Ready? If you can, try to kick towards your head height. Set. Net. That's it. Yes, sir. Good. Yero. Ahum. Yeri. Take a breath in and out. All right, we're going to do the same thing on the other leg. Now, this time, what I want you to try and do is I want you to pick a target or something to kick at. And now, ideally, that's at your head height or higher. So if you're watching me on some sort of a screen and it's up above your head height, then kick at a certain part. Maybe you want to kick directly at me. Maybe you want to kick at my face. Maybe you're looking around and you have a picture on the wall and that's what you want to be your target. I would just want you to identify a target, and I want you to visualize and actually see your foot passing through that target. Now, one of the big mistakes that a lot of people do when they're training, especially when they're kicking in the air, is they will kick to a target, but they won't kick past the target. So now, this is going to be a very bad kick because I'm going to use my hands here. But now imagine I have something here, and this is my picture or whatever, and I do my kick, and it goes right to that target. That's not a good kick. I need to go through that target, right? The space here, through the target. I know, that's a bad kick, but it illustrates a purpose. I don't want to go to the target. I want to go through the target. So keep that in mind whenever you're aiming. You always want to go through the target, not to the target. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we'll use our other leg. For me, it's my left. It might be for you. It might be your right. Ready? Make sure you breathe on each kick. Set. Net. Das. Yes. Is it good? Yero. Ahum. Yay. And take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. All right, so the last front leg kick that we're going to do is going to be our front leg side kick. Now this is going to be a lot like the front leg roundhouse kick. When you raise that foot up, I want you to go into a good side chamber position. A good side chamber position has your leg not down, but up, and then right here, if I'm standing just like this line going straight up and down right to the side of my body, this is what I call the side line. I want my heel on or slightly in front of that sideline. I never want my heel behind that sideline, or else I'm just going to be doing a bad roundhouse kick. So on that sideline, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rotate this way again. So I'm on that sideline, and now as I do my kick, I pivot that base leg. So watch again. I'm here, I raise up, still at that 90 degrees. Once I do that kick, I go to 180 degrees. I want you really focusing on this one, getting 180 degrees. Roundhouse is not as important. Side kick it is very important, all right? So 180 degree pivot on that kick. Ready? Front leg, side kick. Raise up, get on that sideline, thrust it out, and pivot. Set. Net. Das. Yes. Is good. Yero. Aho. Yee. All right, now let's go ahead and let's do the exact same thing on our other leg. Ready? Hana. Yee. Set. Net. Yes. Yes. Is it good? Yero. Yee. Take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. All right, so we're going to change gears just a little bit. We're going to take it away from the legs and we're going to bring it towards the upper body. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our jab and our cross. So hopefully you kind of know how to do a jab and a cross. I'm going to help you try to refine some things with this and then tell you some of the key things that I look for on a jab and a cross. Now my jab and a cross are a little bit more kickboxing than traditional Taekwondo. So just kind of keep that in mind whenever we're doing our jab and our cross. So we're going to start off in a fighting stance, not a sparring stance. Fighting stance means I am squared. My hips are facing towards the front. my belt is facing towards the front. Sparring stance, fighting stance. Hands are usually up a little bit more as well. I want you to keep your shoulders nice and relaxed, hands in, and I'm resting my elbows on my chest, right? So I'm not doing this. I see this quite often. You're just going to exhaust your shoulders. So here, nice and relaxed, hands nice and relaxed. Right now, as we do our jab, I want you to turn your hip and point your shoulder towards the front. Jab. And then we're going to come back with a cross. Now, as I do that cross, I'm pressing off of my back leg, punching out. And notice as I did that cross, my jab hand comes right back, and guess where it's at? It's at my cheekbone. It's touching my cheekbone. Right now, I want you touching your cheekbone in between each one. And then we're going to come back. So jab, cross, back. Now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to do jab, cross, watch my belt. See how my belt swung side to side? That means I'm using my hips. If I do this, see how very little my belt is moving? I want to move my belt. I'm throwing my belt. I'm throwing my hips. That's where all your power is coming from. So make sure your hips are turning. If you're wearing a belt, it should be swinging side to side. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our jab and our cross really slow. Jab, cross. Try to point your hip and your shoulder all the way to the front. This is a bit of an over-exaggeration. You're going to cut that a little bit short when you're actually punching, but that's fine. We want to over-exaggerate it right now. Go along with me, jab and cross. Notice how I'm kind of sinking down in between each one of these as well. One of the reasons why I do this is because when I do a full punch, my legs are almost fully locked out. Almost fully. And that means I'm just extending them. But now, in order to generate power from the ground again, I have to bend my knees again. So I'm bending my knees, bending at my hip, and bending at my ankle, and then I extend all of those again. And I get that triple flexion, hip, knees, ankle, triple extension, hip, knees, ankle. All of them extend. Here, here. So you'll see that kind of a dipping down, and that's just me getting ready for my next one, right? So I'm touching my cheekbone in between each one. I'm nice and relaxed. My belt is going from side to side. I'm pointing my shoulder, if I drop my hand down, all the way towards the front. All the way towards the front. Again, bit of an over-exaggeration. You're not actually going to turn that much in a real fight, but that's fine. Let's over-exaggerate right now, so when the time comes, you're using the correct muscle groups instead of missing muscle groups. Jab and cross. Here, here. Drop down each time, getting those knees bent again. Pointing your shoulder, pointing your hips. Boom. Touch your cheekbones each time. Keep going. Not doing a set number of these because we'll finish that too fast. Just keep that flow going. Nice and relaxed. Boom, boom. All right, now I'm going to do a slight different one where I'm not dropping down. I'm just turning, right? So I can do this as well. And the reason I can still have some power, this is going to be a little bit weaker, but I can still have some power because once I just did, say, my cross, I have a bend in my knee, I have a bend in my ankle, I have a bend in my hip, and I come back. Now I have all in this one. This one's straighter. This one's more bent because my weight went to that side. Boom. And I can go off of that. Again, it's not as strong because I don't have as much of a cocked position, cocked and ready for that, but it's fine. So right now I'm not dropping down, but I am still swaying and turning my hip side to side. I can start to pick up the pace, but I'm still trying to keep those key concepts. I'm trying to stay nice and relaxed. I'm touching my cheekbone in between each one. I'm trying to point my shoulder and my hip towards the front for each one. Nice and relaxed. Make sure you breathe. Don't hold your breath. Keep going. Might make your belt come undone. That's fine. All right, let's take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. All right, so the next one that we're going to do, we're going to go back to the legs for a second. We're going to do a spinning roundhouse kick. Now, I was actually asked to demonstrate and talk a little bit more about this. This one is, you don't use this one in Taekwondo sparring as much. It's more of a, again, kickboxing thing, so I like to add it with the hands, which we're going to do in a second, but I'm going to demonstrate it first. So a spinning roundhouse kick looks like this. Right? So I did a roundhouse kick, but I spun all the way around. Now, why would I spin all the way around in a roundhouse kick when I'm doing a roundhouse kick? I will spin all the way around when I have a lot of power and I'm thinking that I'm going to hit my opponent or the bag and I miss. So remember, fights are fluid. Your opponent could do this, and now you missed. But now you have a whole bunch of power, and that's not something you want to try to just stop in midair. So I might throw that kick, boom, and then I'm going to bring it all the way back around. Now when I do this, the same mechanics are going to apply as when I'm just doing a roundhouse kick from the rear, right? So I'm going to pivot my foot. I'm bringing my knee up, around. As I'm getting closer towards that center line, I'm starting to extend, and now it's pretty straight after you hit that center line, right? Because that's where you're anticipating hitting your opponent. So I would kick, and I would hit my opponent. I'd have a little bit of a knee bend. I usually will fully straighten it out after that center line, and I'll set it down and come back around. So again, here, bring it just like a roundhouse kick, and now just allow this weight to come here, and now you have to continue to pivot on this base leg. I don't want to go here and have that leg twisted and go here. I want to pivot with it. So that can be something that's a little bit of a challenge, is that pivot if you're not used to it. So let's go ahead and let's just practice this motion, right? So we're actually going to switch after each one, because I don't want you to get dizzy. Actually, I don't mind you getting dizzy. I don't want to get dizzy, right? All right, so we're going to switch after each one. So we're going to kick, roundhouse kick, extend it, bring it back, step around, and we're just going to switch legs, and we're going to do that same thing. Now let's do this one from a fighting stance, so our feet are closer together. Sparring stance, fighting stance. Let's do this one from a fighting stance. All right, ready? And switch sides. And switch sides. Set. And switch. Net. Yes. Yes. Is it up? Get over. All right, I'm going to talk about what I'm doing real quick. So I'm kicking this kick, and I'm setting it down. Now, I'm not setting it all the way in the back currently. I'm setting it down more of that 45-degree angle of where my front foot is here, and I'm pivoting around. That way, my other leg automatically gets to the back, right? So this just is a way to train this so that you can switch sides a little bit easier. All right, what we're on. Look up. Get over. Ahum. Take a breath in and out. All right, we are going to do 10 more of these, so just take your breath. Now, when I'm doing this, I'm also leading with my knee, right? I'm not going to be leading with my foot. I want to drive my knee in, around, kick here, and I usually start to bend it, step, and I pivot around so that this leg comes to the back. Kick, step, pivot around, so now the other leg's in back. All right, 10 more. Ready? And in. 3. All right, before I go any further, this is also very important that you have a target. This one's even more important that you have a target. So you're kicking through that target, they moved out of the way, you missed, right? Now, I'm using my camera as my target. I'm looking at my target, boom, I'm looking at my target again. There should be only a little amount of time. My leg goes past it before I lose contact with whatever I'm looking at. And then I get contact with whatever I'm looking at very quickly after that pivot. Do not do something like this. It is going to get hit in the back of the head, right? Don't do that. All right, what are we on? 3. Set. Net. Yes. Yes. This is good. Get over. Ahoo. Take a breath in and out. All right, so now let's go ahead and let's add that spinning roundhouse kick with an upper body technique first. All right, so I'm going to start off, I'm going to stay in one stance. Pick whatever stance is your dominant stance, right? For most people, it's going to be the left leg in front, right leg in back. If you're right-handed, if that's your power hand, go ahead and for now put your right leg in the back position. So we're going to start off with a jab, And then we're going to kick with our right leg, that spinning roundhouse kick. So I'm going to go jab, kick. Boom, and I'm going to come back. Right? And now I'm going to go jab, cross, step with the back leg. It should be your right leg. Kick with the left. Bring it around. All right, so this is going to have us spinning in 2 different directions because we're kicking with both, but we're staying in the same stance, so you're not switching stances. All right? Ready? Jab, come back, kick with that right leg, bring it all the way around. All right, I still have my left leg in front now. Jab, cross, step. Now notice when I step, I'm turning my toes towards the outside, already getting ready to pivot, kick, and bring it around. All right? Jab, kick. Jab, cross, kick. Move around a little bit in between. Jab, kick. Jab, cross, kick. Jab, kick. Jab, cross, step, kick. Jab, kick. Jab, cross, step, kick. Are you looking at a target? Are you punching at that target? Are you kicking at that target? Or are you seeing that target before and after your spin? Hopefully the answer to all of those was yes. All right. Jab, kick. Jab, cross, kick. Jab, kick. Jab, cross, kick. Let's take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. In and out. All right. So now we're going to go and we're going to isolate upper body again. So we're going to do a block followed by a punch. Now we're going to do a non-traditional high block. All right. So traditional high block. Looks like that. So traditional high block. A non-traditional high block looks like this. And now when I'm doing this, it's kind of like a strike, right? So I'm not just raising up like this to block. I'm going out as I'm hitting this. So it's kind of like a jab, but I'm hitting with my forearm. So a great way to kind of illustrate this is to have a bag, right? Something especially like this. So I'm going to come here, and now my hand is going to be off center of this, right? So he's got his center line. I'm here. I have to bring this hand, which is on, if I'm squared with him completely, on this side of his body, I have to bring it slightly here. So it's almost like a back fist. It's going to be kind of like this, kind of like a back fist, but I'm hitting here. So I can think of this. But I'm also not doing a straight like a back fist where I'm hitting in a circular motion. I almost want this kind of a shearing motion, right? So I'm not hitting here. I'm going to grab a stick to help illustrate this a little bit better as well. Imagine with a stick, I could hit here. This is not what I'm doing. This would be more like a back fist. I want to imagine that I'm sliding it past as it hits. Instead of a straight on hit like this, it's this shearing motion. So I'm almost getting a little bit more extension as I'm going out with this. What that allows it to do is it's not a hard block, it's a hit and deflect block. So things will glance off of this much more, and instead of hitting hard where I'm meeting force on force, I don't want force on force. Force on force hurts, it's painful. I don't want that, I want shearing. So I want it to hit and slide. Sometimes that can even lead you to, if you like to grapple, to close in, hold their arms, make it so that they can't hit you. All right, not going to focus on that. I just wanted to illustrate this non-traditional high block. But I'm still cutting that angle. Most people's punches are wide looping punches. So I also want to make sure that I'm not in close to my body. I don't want to do this. I want to shear it out here, and then come, and we're going to do a other hand punch. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to angle Bob a little bit, so maybe you can see a little better. So I'm going to go 1, 2. Now I'm hitting him because I can, but this is actually going to be more of an arm thing, and I would be hitting. Actually, I got a better idea for you guys. I have a cool toy, and this is called Big Bob. All right, so same things. I want to hit and block, or strike with my block, and then hit. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm covering my head again right after, because let's be honest, they're going to hit at us at the same time we're hitting at them. That's why we're blocking in the first place. They're not going to stop with one punch. They're going to punch us again. It's just how it works. All right, so let's go ahead and let's just grip this out a little bit. Lead hand, for now, is going to shear block, cross, and now I'm just going to grab the side of my head here. I could go for a full shield block. I could just bring it back here, but I'm just going to grab my head for right now. All right, ready? 1, 2, set. Now I'm backing up. I'm going to create a little bit of distance, and I'm going to get close, and then I'm going to back. Net. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is good. Make sure you're throwing your belt with that punch. Get Oh. All right, so now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it now with our rear hand, right? So I got my right leg in front, my right leg in the rear, right hand is my power hand. So I'm going to do this exact same thing, block, and then punch. Now this could be a hook if you wanted to. Now, Bob's arms don't move too well, but if I stood off to the side, I could go here and do the shearing block, followed by a hook. That's fine, you can do that. You can shear block and just step in and have a strong jab, right? Options are always going to be changing. I just want you to get the idea of a shear block with a strike. And now I could go 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so we're just going to practice now blocking with the rear hand and punching with the lead hand. If you want to do a hook, fine. If you want to do a straight punch, fine. I don't care. Ready? 1, 2, set, net, yes, 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 you go, you know, oh, take a breath. All right, so now remember that shearing block, that shearing high block, can also be a strike. It can also lead to a lot of positions. If you do ever do any sort of a clinch thing, you can start to control to the outside position here, past the arm. So you have a lot of options. It doesn't have to just block the arm. And now, again, one reason why I like the shearing block going here instead of here, because this, when you miss, not if you miss, when you miss, you're going to get hit in the face. How do I know that? Because I've missed, right? It's not if, it's when. You will miss if you just overly do this. So staying on that center line is usually a very good option for blocking, right? When people want to hit something that's on your center line, guess what? They have to go towards your center line. If your arm's not on the center line, well, you're probably going to get hit. All right. So let's go ahead and we're going to start to wrap it up. And the way I like to wrap it up is usually with conditioning drill. So I picked a pretty easy one today. Sorry, I'm a little tired, all right? So we're going to do pyramid kicks. So we're just going to go up to 5 today, right? So just 5. You can go higher if you want. Can't go lower. No, you can go higher if you want. But we're just going to do 5. I'm just going to do 5. So a pyramid kick, I want you to be able to see my front foot when I'm doing this. It's going to start with the rear leg. I'm going to kick 1, and I bring it back. And then I'm going to go to 2, right? We picked 5. So now I'm going to go 1. I'm going to drop this down in front. See how close I am to this bag? And then I'm going to kick again with that front leg, and then I end in the back. That's 2. And then 3 is going to be 1, 2, 3, and back. Now the 1 is a power kick. 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, those are speed kicks, right? So the first one that you hit, power, speed, power, speed, all right? If you can't quite do that yet, and you just have to have them all at the same pace and the same power, that's fine. When you can start pick it up, try to add a little bit more to that. All right, so we're gonna go at a relatively fast pace, so it's a pretty good workout when we go. And then once we get to 5, we go back down, because it's a pyramid, right? Pyramids don't go here and just stop up here. No, they go back down. All right, pyramid kicks, 1 through 5. Also, the last kick of each set, I want you to kick towards the head, right? Or, so, if I kick 2, 1, let's kick that second one to the head, if you can. All right, ready? And 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, they weren't all supposed to go to head, my bad. 5. And now we're going to go back down, so it's going to be 4. 4. 4. 3. 2. 1. If you're wearing a belt and it came off, go ahead and fix that now. All right, we're going to do the same thing with our left leg. Pyramid kicks, they can get tiring, especially when you start to get up in the numbers. Remember, every number you go up, you're adding on both sides of the pyramid. So just going to keep that in mind. All right. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, back down. 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a breath in and out. All right, sorry about that. Can you guys hear me? I just unplugged the audio. Can somebody just give a thumbs up? Yes, if you can hear me. Yes, no? Comment, please. Tell me if you can hear me or not. You can now? All right. Hopefully there wasn't too long where you weren't able to hear me. I just noticed the light flickering, so hopefully not. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start cooling down. So we're going to do a little bit of stretches. If you have any questions, now's a great time to go ahead and ask them. And after I close out the class, I will answer all the questions that I see. All right, so let's take a breath in. A few deep breaths. Breathe in and out. Fill your lungs up. In and out. Now in this next one, we're going to go down and touch our toes. Breathe in and exhale. Touch your toes and come up to the sky. Breathe in, reach up, and exhale down. And one more. In, fill your lungs, and exhale down. All right, let's go ahead, I'm going to stretch an arm out, cross, other side, out, across, bring one up, grab, pull it back, up, grab, pull it back, socket stretch down. We're not going to bounce this one, we're going to hold this one. Remember, at the end of classes or any exercise, when your body's all warmed up, that's when you want to do your static stretches. So static stretches meaning holding position. I want to go as far as I can, and I want to just hold that position, ideally for about 30 seconds, so that you can get the actual lengthening of the muscle. Let's go ahead and go to the other side. For time purposes, I'm not going to hold each one of these for the length that I should if I wanted to get the muscle elongation, right? 30 seconds. Hold it for 30 seconds, and that's when you're going to start really seeing the benefit from the stretch. All right, let's go ahead and drop our knee down and push the hip forward. You should also feel, when you're getting a really good stretch in, you should feel your muscles pull, right? They should contract a little bit and tighten. So we have sensors in our muscles that tell it whenever it's getting too long to contract so that the muscle doesn't get ripped apart, right? It's called a muscle spindle. So we have those. We want to get to the point where we feel those pull and then relax those again, right? So they should be pulling. That's how you know you're actually getting to a good stretch. And remember, you're getting into these stretches slowly, though. Let's go and switch sides. Not with speed, so you should not be ripping the muscles. You will have little micro tears. That's how the muscles are going to get longer, and that's okay. But you shouldn't be ripping the muscles. You shouldn't ever feel pain when you're stretching. You should always feel discomfort. If you're not uncomfortable, you're not getting better. You're not improving. But you should never feel pain, right? So make sure you do get to that point where you start to feel the muscles like, I don't like this, I'm going to pull. And then you just think. I usually touch the muscle and I relax, relax, relax. And then you can feel it start to just relax and elongate again. All right, now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do everybody's favor. We're going to go into the splits. Go down as far as you can, holding it. Or we're going to do a little bit of a different type of stretch here. We're going to do a PNF stretch. So now we're going to come up a little bit, right? So I can obviously go further than this. And I'm going to squeeze my legs together at about 50% intensity, right? I'm not going to squeeze as hard as I can, but I'm going to try to touch my heels together. Obviously, the ground is in the way and will not let my heels touch together. But I'm contracting my legs, trying to touch my heels together, and the ground is stopping them, and that's fine. All right, now I'm going to relax. And let's sink back down all the way into that split. So what that's doing is tiring out the muscle, so it's not going to be contracting as much whenever you're doing that. You'll be able to relax it. You should be able to go a little bit further after you do one of those. Now let's come back up. Same thing. I want to pinch my heels together, trying to touch them together at about 50% intensity. Again, don't squeeze as hard as you can. You can injure yourself, so don't do that. And then relax, and let's go back down. And let's go a little bit further this time. And let's do that one more time. Let's go ahead, let's come up. Try to touch your heels together. And relax. And now when you're doing something like that, the PNF stretching, whenever you're doing the contracting part like we just did, hold that for about 4 to 6 seconds. And then hold the stretch afterwards for about 10 seconds-ish. And then on your third rep, or however many you're doing, the last one of that set, then go ahead and hold that one for about 20 seconds. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. Holding this a little bit longer, at least until I get done explaining it. And I'm done explaining it now. All right, feet together. And that's butterfly. One hand back, one hand up, one foot planted. Hips up, stand up. All right. This uniform, straight up, bow, good knee. And great job on that class, you guys. Okay, so now if you have any questions, if there's anybody left, there's a few people left. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment them. I'm going to scroll up to the top and see. All right, the first one is in German. Mein Deutsch ist nicht sehr gut. Es tut mir leid. Yeah. Es tut mir leid. Another German. It might be the same. It's all the same person. I know some of the words that you're saying, I just can't put it all together to make sense. All right, any questions? I don't see any questions. So you guys, I'm gonna hang out for about another minute. Type any questions you guys have. Oh man, was this slightly angled this whole time? If it was, I apologize. That would annoy me. How come nobody told me? Okay, it looks like we don't have any questions. So if that's all for me, then I hope you guys have a great day. Britta, no problem. I know you specifically requested that, so no problem. All right, have a great day, you guys.